Hey, what's good, people? This is the Option Podcast. This is episode 138. Does it matter? No, it doesn't, because I got this guy, Sam Shweisky. We're going to find out what he's all about. The episode starts right now. What's good, people? You have asked, and you have asked. So now I deliver because for me, I've got to give the people what they want. Oh, hot damn. This is my Sam. What's up, Sam? What's up, man?
Not much, man. It's good to see you, Jay. How are you?
Yeah, cool. I think it's safe to say, as far as like people going way back before we did all this, I'll save that at the end. But two words for you: Hunter High School.
Hunter High School and Central Park.
Yes.
I feel like my memories of you start eighth, ninth grade, Central Park, playing fours on the cement courts. Man, that's where I grew up playing, and I remember that being a really welcoming environment.
Yeah. Well, welcome environment for the people who are ballers, right? And I mean, you as a kid. I gotta tell you, you were probably the youngest one out of the bunch of us. So you had to represent right away. There was no right. There was no easing into the hostile crowds of the Dominicans, Ren Osborne, Leandro Kilvio, and those guys. So
Yeah,
so I
there
guess
was a
I'm
little. I mean, so Dan Ross was a senior my freshman year, and I remember just I was going through Central Park and I bumped into him, and he told me about the scene. He was like, "Yeah, they play in the summer. They play on the weekdays, weekends." I just started showing up, and yeah, all those guys, Ren, Kilvio, Elvis, man, they were inviting, but then they'd beat you up. You know, if you couldn't play, you'd get tossed pretty quick,
it's
and then
true.
you'd watch and you'd learn some Spanish, you'd learn some volleyball, you'd learn some New York City culture,
Yeah.
and it was my favorite thing in the world just to get up on a Saturday morning and fill a few seltzer bottles full of water and bike up there and
Yep.
play all day. And if you could hang on the A court, you'd stay, and if you couldn't, you'd bounce to the B court and fight your way back, and it was awesome.
Yeah. That was fun. And that happened to be your major in college, right? Hispanic studies.
And that's honestly what, it's funny actually. We got off the plane at LAX and we landed, and the guys, we took them in and out, and we bumped to NGU, same team we're playing. And they got a bunch of guys from Puerto Rico, and we start chatting. I'm talking Spanish with them, and they're like, "Oh, where are you from?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm from New York." It's like, "No, no, but where are you from?" I'm like, "I'm American." And they're like, "Really?" And we're talking Spanish. I'm like, "Yeah, but I grew up with Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Chileans, Peruvians, Venezuelans, and I
Yeah.
loved it." And that's sort of it sparked the interest in me to then study Spanish in college, live in Madrid, go study abroad. It was just that welcoming energy from my young years with all those New York City guys
Hmm.
really inspired this interest in Spanish culture and how diverse it was, right? Everyone spoke Spanish, but those guys saying "becao," you netted, and I'd be like, "Oh, that's Dominican, and that's El
Yes.
Salvadorian slang, and that's Puerto Rican slang." I was so fascinated by that. I got really interested in the Spanish language and the culture, and I love it.
Well, it's because for the Dominicans who live uptown, Sam, like if it don't start with the letter S, they ain't using it, right? I mean, for the people listening, pecado is really pescado. It means
Right.
fish. You got a fish in the net, but they like pecado,
Right.
or
Well, I would
pecado.
go, I would come from there, and I'd go to my eighth grade or ninth or 10th grade Spanish class, and I would say like uno, dos, tres. And they'd be like, "No, no, uno, dos, tres." And
Hmm.
I, "No, no, 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 no." But in this, they say it like uno, dos, tres.
Yep.
And it's be like, "Yeah, that's correct, but it's not." But I'm
Yes.
so enamored with just the style, this, and then like when reggaeton became a thing, I was like, could understand some of the lyrics. I felt so like so much pride to be sort of included into a bit of the culture. Like I was sort of like, they're like, "Yeah, you're gringo, but you're cool, and we'll teach you some of this. And you can hang with us." And I love I see those guys from time to time, and it just brings my heart fills with love for the New York City culture.
Yeah, no doubt. Sam, is the lighting behind me okay? You can see me okay? Am I dark or am I
No, you're good. You're
like
good.
the perfect shot? Cool. Because I actually
Yeah.
have a overhead light that I use to light everybody up, but 24. I've been podcasting for almost 24 hours straight. It is hot as balls in this thing, man.
That's a lot.
And
That's a lot.
and that light, it brings actually like the heat down. And I'm comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Because it means we got stuff to talk about. But you're so right. You're like, ¿Cómo está? They're like, no, ¿Cómo está? And like, who's your favorite reggaeton artist? Elvi Crespo. You mean Elvis Crespo?
Right.
So for the people watching the video version, there's a big P on that man's shirt. That P stands for Princeton. Princeton stands for EIVA, Eastern Intercollegiate Volleyball Association Champions, which, by the way, for men's indoor volleyball is an automatic bid. Ha ha ha! You're second in a row, right?
Technically second in a row. Yeah, we won in 2019, and then we didn't play everyone got shut down in 2020.
Right. Yeah.
Ivy League opted not to play in 21 because of COVID restrictions. So yes, since last time we played, technically second in a row for us. Yeah.
Yeah. And one prior, you were in the finals against Harvard, right?
Oh yeah, we were in the EIVA finals in
18.
Right. Yeah, we were the 1 seed again, played at Mason, ended up playing Harvard in the finals. Yeah. So yeah, 3 EIVA finals in a row.
And they had to beat Penn State to get in. So that was a true Ivy League finals. You had to beat Mason, I think.
Yeah,
right?
we were the 1 seed, upset Mason, we were the 4 seed, upset Mason, the 1 seed. And I can't remember, Harvard and Penn State were 3 and 2. And yeah,
right.
Harvard upset Penn State, I think, in 2018. Yeah. They had a great team that year.
Yeah, whatever order, man. I like it. So first of all, congratulations. I feel like like with volleyball and it being the 6 degrees of separation, and you go to Miami, you wind up in Jersey, I come to LA, you know what I'm saying, I'm coaching beach out here and I'm doing a bunch of good things, and look where it's come. Episode 137 of 138 full circle. Just two guys on the Upper East Side, one in the Upper West Side, and we're just chatting it up. So I really it all comes back to the borough, baby.
Exactly.
Congratulations. You play who first? Who do you play first?
North Greenville. The winner of the Conference Carolinas. They beat Mount Olive in a great 5-set championship match. We got to watch that match on film. A great match. They're opposite. Incredible player. Torres went off in that match.
Dude, Torres could do no wrong, man.
Dude, he's unbelievable. Today, in and out, shook his hand, and I said, man, you are – and he's a freshman too. It's like that much talent as a freshman. You're like, this kid's career is going to be on the up and up. So, yeah, they're an incredibly talented team. And, when you play a team not in your conference that you don't know that well, there's a bit of like, kind of that boxing match when you kind of dance around the ring and try to figure each other out. Like, we're going to be real curious to figure them out early because, they're super talented and, they play a different style, but Torres is dynamite. And so that's going to be really the focal point for us to try to slow them down if we can.
And big up to the setter too, because sometimes you see some mismatches and this and that. But when, I mean, we really try to teach our kids, right? Like sometimes if someone's hot, who cares? Who cares if he's double team? Who cares if he's triple team? Sometimes you got to know when to ride that, right? I think that's what divides a good setter from a great setter, right? I mean,
he's a great setter. I was actually just chatting with him at In and Out. He was telling me how he came to NGU first and then told about those 5 of the 6 starters, all from Puerto Rico, all played club or different regional teams growing up together. So they've known each other for a long time. And you can see when the setter starts grooving with him that like, oh yeah, he knows it's coming. He knows where the ball is going to be. And to your point, it's like, okay, it's double team, triple team, fine. Like doesn't matter.
Ride him, strap on, boom.
Yeah. And so, no, we're ready for a very good team and we're excited for it.
I actually been coaching on a club long enough out here to remember some of those guys playing for San Juan, like the club team.
Yeah, sure.
I might have even ran into one of them. I was coaching Evolution in 2016. Duncan Avery's kids. Duncan played at Long Beach State. And actually, Lewis Richard was with us too from Long Beach State. He was one of the coaches with us. Nice guy, right?
Great. I coached Lewis 2013 on a high performance team.
Yeah, Funded 19s, right?
Real nice guy, great player, and great coach now. He's he's working at Northwestern as a volunteer, I believe, on the women's side.
Good for him. Getting more opportunities. He's got a great personality. People warm up to him. He's a good X's and those guys, and I guess as he gets older, he'll start to get some of that older coach's intuition, right? But then just some people are young and bright and really good right away. Like, dude, there's a girl named Kamalu. I'm with Jason Olive at LA Volleyball Club, and the most experienced coach is me. Hands down. But the best guy for the job is this woman named Kamalu. She's set for Northridge, and she's 24, and she is incredibly bright. She ain't Hunter High School bright. All right, I gotta watch my mouth here, okay? But she is incredibly bright. All right, so yeah, good luck to him. So you're gonna
I got a quick while you're on.
please,
I got a quick Jason Olive story. So
please.
he's 97. It was my senior year at senior year at Hunter High School, and Elvis, for those who don't know, the king of New York City volleyball.
He was the king of rock and roll, man, for 2 decades.
Oh my God, man, unbelievable! But he put together. There was some league going on at Hunter College, and he called me and said, "Hey, come play, on this team." I said, "Okay." And this team was Jason Olive, Elvis. Like, I mean, I was in awe of the level, and I just remember, like, the libero didn't exist yet, so I was like the L2, the guy that passed, but they never set, just kind of like
Right.
hang on the court, and we just set Jason Olive every ball.
Yeah, that was 3 years before the libero. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
unbelievable.
I have a friend of mine, Aldous Lucy's.
Yeah.
He actually played at UCLA at wrestling and volleyball, and he's
Oh,
also
wow.
Tina Gradina's godfather. So
Okay.
there's the 6 degrees of separation again. But he was
Yeah,
my
yeah.
volleyball mentor, Mario Trivich, and him.
Sure.
Those are my two indoor mentors. For beach is
Oh, yeah.
John Mayer, LMU, and a guy
Yeah.
named Oz Borges, a Cuban, a Cubano that he hung out with a lot of the Puerto Ricans. But anyway,
Nice.
when we were watching Jason play, in fact, at Hunter College, in that pro league, that was a 1 year,
Yeah.
like, I don't know what the prize money was, but it brought out all kinds of savages.
Yeah.
And when he watched Jason jump and hit, he said, that guy's cruising.
Yeah.
He said, he's not even trying. He said, that guy's cruising.
Yeah.
And that was that. Oh,
Yeah.
man. So there are a lot of things you want to fix from 2019. Like who'd you play in 2019?
We played Barton in the first round at their place, and we beat them in 4, I believe. And then we played 9 in the first round of 6, and we lost in 5. A good 5-set match. And
Right. And they're in too, right? Pepper, they're in did they get a bid?
Yep, they're in this year as well. Yeah, they play
They beat
UCLA
Stanford.
in round of 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they beat Stanford in the finals.
They beat Stanford, who upset UCLA in the semis. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Stanford, they're 14-12, but don't let that record fool you. If you look at their lineup of wins, all right, they'll beat UCLA one night, and UCLA get mad and beat the hell out of them the night before, but you can't unring that bell, right? A win's a win. And then they finish their season beating BYU. Luke Turner, he's the opposite there. He's my best friend's son, Wendy Jones.
Nice.
Wendy Jones is of the Optimist Journal. She's like this health and wellness person, and her daughter's at TCU playing for Hector for the beach team, and her son was a starting oppo at Stanford. So one of those power moms that kind of gets the game.
Oh yeah, we recruited Luke. One of his best friends, Henry Robush, is on setter on our team. We got a bunch of Loyola guys and surf guys. And no, he's a great player, great family. Love recruiting him, and I'm really excited to see him doing so well.
Very respectful too. He's the kind of guy you want your daughter to date, but you don't want your son to fight. It's just one of those guys. So, give me one thing, because I'm so happy to be talking about volleyball. I mean, this podcast has gone the theater direction. Because I ended up going back to school in Marymount, Manhattan. Got my BFA in acting.
Nice.
And you know where Marymount is, of course.
Sure.
And at the time, they were ranked number 2 in the country. So, finished my education there. But anyway, give me one thing that you saw significant improvement on your team collectively, let's say the last 3 weeks to the last month.
I think, a couple things. One, we really tried to buy in to some defensive systems and discipline. Like, it's one thing to say we got to be disciplined, but you got to do it, and it just takes practice, right? So every day we would start with coach on a box and just hitting the ball and just being stopped. There's so much intuition. Guys want to quote unquote read, and it's like you got to, whatever you're doing or seeing, you have to be stopped on the point of contact, and you kind of have to trust that, like, once the ball is hit, then you make your read, then you go for the ball. But if you're moving when the ball is being hit, you might get one spectacular dig here and there, but you're going to miss a bunch.
But to what end? Yeah, exactly.
I think buying into that system of, like, let's be stopped. And also everyone's got access to volleymetrics and data volley. Like, you kind of know people's heat maps. Like, look, this is where the guy hits the ball most of the time. He might hit it somewhere else here and again, but if you stand here and you're stopped on point of contact, you're going to get a bunch of digs over the course of the match. So that was probably a big thing. And then I think also just buying into our philosophy of personnel changes. Like, we switch setters, we switch middles, we switch pins. Like, that's something that we do. And when everyone is fully bought in and like, hey, if my number doesn't get called, I'm going to support the guy next to me, and you can feel it and it's genuine, that's when it gets special, right? That's
Yeah.
when it's, wow, hey, we're really here for the team first. All the coach cliches, like when they actually get bought into, you feel the energy. So I would say those two things, like it's really a defensive intensity and sort of discipline, and then a real buy-in for this team first mentality with guys coming in and out of the lineup.
Yeah, I was looking at some of your stats because I only had a chance to watch two matches, a very small sample size, but of course the finals against NJIT. I saw Tariq send out a nice congratulations message
Yeah.
because Tariq, right, they got someone in the house, right? One's Princeton, one's NJIT, so right.
I
I
know.
don't know if you saw his household, right?
I did.
They
I
were in
did. Well,
different
you know,
shirts.
he can't. It's funny because him and his partner there, Astria, they came down to in 2019. He was honored when we hosted. He was honored in the EIVA Hall of Fame.
About time.
We had a really nice like EIVA Hall of Fame banquet, and that's where I got a chance to get up in front of my team, and Penn State was there in the finals, and just talk about what Tariq meant to me. Like Tariq, when I played at Empire State games, I would take the 7 train all the way out to a bus. It took me 2 hours to get out to Queens College. And then at like 11:30 at night, Tariq would just drive me home. And I was like, sophomore, junior.
You're like, thanks, man.
Yeah. But like, you're sitting in that car ride as a young kid, and here's an incredibly accomplished player telling you, hey, man, you could be pretty good at this if you stick with it. Like, just giving you encouragement. It meant the world to me. So to get to spend time with him and Astrid was really cool. And I just gave her a shirt, kind of was like, hey, here's a shirt, And then, of course, comes around. They're like, oh, we support Princeton, we support NJIT. And it was really sweet of them. And they're just really, really great people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know what? I want to say one more thing about Tariq, but I wanted to talk about the Wedbush brothers because I was looking at the stats
Sure.
and this and that.
Sure.
I played 1 year at Hunter, right? And Tariq, we played NJIT. They came to our house.
Sure.
And they thought it was cute to put Tariq on the court with like 4 subs, right? Hunter's a CUNY school. We whooped their behinds like 15-6. And then they put all their starters back in, right? And it was so cool because I went into the locker room, the Hunter locker room, and you don't realize how tall everybody is until they're off the court. Like Sam, like if you play big, everyone looks the same size unless someone's 7 feet tall, unless there's a whatever. But then I realized how big Tariq was, and I realized how big whatever. I'm like, Jesus Christ, and I said, good job. And he looks at me, he says, yeah, we sent boys to do a man's job, which kind of like insulted, like he wasn't trying to insult his subs, but he said, yeah, we tried to send boys to do a man's job. So good job, good job, you, Greg Romulus, remember him?
Yeah,
he was on that team. Justin Stack,
oh my God,
David
those
May, Danny Moy.
Yeah.
Just this compilation of everyone who's 6'1" across the board, but we were a great touch block team. So
David May is a PSAL Iron Horse winner. I mean, just back. I mean, obviously.
He was runner up. Mike Salick won. He was runner up.
Romulus had I think he had like the kill record.
Still.
Records.
Right? Still 61 for 98. 61 for 98, 5 errors.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say about Tariq, Elvis. Elvis used to give out the best nicknames. My favorite nickname Elvis gave Tariq was Mosquito, because he would just fly like a mosquito. He would just fly up there and boom, and just bounce balls. You'd be like, oh my God, this guy's on another planet.
Yeah. But like you said, just this gentle giant that was always encouraging. Because the Empire State team didn't always have everyone who was civil like that, right? I mean, Ren was on that team.
There was
going to be nice.
Some people that got hot. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But Tariq was always the same. Dave Betances, that dude when he's performing, right? I remember he grabbed Tariq by the rib cage, right? He had a heat stroke in one of those tournaments.
Some of those Creole teams. I used to watch. I used to play NYC juniors, man. And I would watch. Betances and Ren and Elvis and Kyle Robinson and Ronnie. God, rooting for those guys. I never had so much pride rooting for New York City when those guys were playing. And I was cheering for them. It was amazing. Salick, obviously, on that team.
Yeah, I loved watching them because when I got out of the military, I kind of blew up to 265. But then 5 years after they stopped playing, I dropped 65 pounds, and I set for Bameso a little bit with Frankie and them guys or whatever.
Yeah.
And I learned. I just learned some stuff. I was the only guy on that team that spoke English, right? Except for maybe Batista, right? But I hit my stride that way, left-handed setter. Because when I met you, I was an outside. I was an oppo. Yeah. And then I turned into a setter.
I remember you playing everything in the
middle.
Well, I remember just like on the cement courts, like some guys could do one thing, but you could set, you could hit. You could pass. It was like, oh, this guy can do everything. That's not everyone can do that,
Yeah. So listen, I was looking at stats, and everything you said about your team, about changing setters, changing this and that. And like you said, everyone buying into that. Everyone would have to buy into that for you to win the EIVA championship. I mean, everyone EIVA is not what we on the West would consider particularly strong, but they're still top heavy. You know what I'm saying? In your defense, you're still top heavy, and on any given day, those you can take anyone's lunch money. So, the Wedbushes, one's a junior, one's a freshman, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Tell me, did either one of them play, or did both of them play in the finals against NJIT?
So, it's actually a really cool story about both of them and kind of the arc of the playoffs, so Brady Wedbush is the junior middle and Henry Wedbush is the freshman setter. And Henry and Joe, we have a fifth-year senior setter in Joe Kelly and a freshman setter in Henry Wedbush. They've been battling back and forth with setting. And Brady had been the second or third middle. He'd been kind of fighting in for that second or third middle spot. And, every week in practice, we play, we take stats, take video, you look at the better. I have a meritocracy. Like, look, I'm not playing. I don't play you because you're older. I don't play you because you whatever. I play you because you're, I think in the moment, the best player for what we need in that moment, and leaving for the playoffs to play St. Francis in the first round, Henry was the setter and Brady was the middle. And so both brothers were in the starting lineup. That was the plan. And we played the first set against St. Francis. We won 25-21, fairly good play. But the staff, we kind of put our heads together and we said, something doesn't feel like the offense isn't clicking. We just had a gut feeling we wanted to switch setters, which is kind of gutsy to win a set and change your setters. But we said, we just felt it. And we switched and we put in Joe. Joe won the next two sets, beat him 3-0. We liked the way it looked. It felt right. Not really too much empirical data, kind of like just gut feeling. And Brady stayed in as well. And then to start Penn State, started Joe, started Brady, who also, they're not brothers, but they played club together for Rockstar. So we have a bunch of guys who kind of have different connections and stuff.
Yeah.
Penn State match, Joe set an incredible match. He just set a beautiful match. Late in the fourth set, Brady looked like he was kind of running out of steam. So we put in our other middle, Nero. Nero came in, had hit 2 kills in the fifth set, hit 1,000, helped us win that fifth set. And so then starting off the NJIT match, again, it's Joe Kelly starting, but we started Nero. So now you're going into NJIT into the finals and you got both brothers on the bench. They both started. And for whatever reason, at this point, we felt it was better to have those guys. We lose the first set. We win the second set. It's close, 27-25, I think. Third set, we're down a couple points and the staff is talking. We need something. It's like, okay, Nero's hitting well, but his blocking isn't as good. Maybe we switch Brady in for Nero. We're like, Joe's getting hit over a little bit. Some of these rotations with Meisner, their big lefty. Maybe we sub in the setter. And we're like, okay, yeah, either the setter switch or the middle switch. Something to give us a little jump. And then NJT took a big lead. They went up 7-2. And I just had a feeling. I was like, you know what? Both brothers. We do a double brother sub. We're putting in the setter and we're putting in the middle. And I just remember yelling down the bench. I said, Wedbushes, both of you, you're in.
Nice.
And it was the coolest. It felt like it was in a movie. It was like the coolest thing I ever had a chance to do. And they come jogging down. And they are such like brothers. They're always joking and laughing and fired up, their energy, They come running down the bench and they went in and they took over the game. Like Henry took over with his blocking and his serving. Brady had a couple huge blocks and a few kills, and they took over. They won that third set, 27-25, and they just rolled in the fourth set. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing was, I'll tell you, after the St. Francis win, where Henry started, but we subbed Joe in to win. Afterwards, we usually give snaps to each other and say, hey, what are some positive things? Henry was the first guy to go, I commend Joe Kelly for coming off the bench and setting an incredible match. After he was taken out, and that's the kind of buy-in. That's the kind of look, coach made a decision, and I support my coach. I support my team. I support my senior captain who puts his love and heart into this game, And then you saw the flip in the NJT final where Henry came in and Joe is cheering on the sideline for him. It's just a beauty. You can't write it better than that. It's just beautiful to see the guys really support each other because it's hard, man. Everybody wakes up in the morning thinking about themselves. That's human nature, right?
Yeah.
You don't wake up and think to yourself, does my buddy have to brush his teeth? No, you brush your own teeth. That's what you do. But being sort of elevated to that team where it's like, hey, team comes first, man, that's special to see. And with those two brothers being a part of it. And I will say, Joe Kelly and Nico Jaya, our two senior captains, that's where it comes from. Where it comes from the top, where when those guys aren't playing, they're setting up the nets early, they're clapping, they're cheering, they're mopping the floor, they're doing the stuff where it's like, wow, these guys are investing in the team, and it's been just beautiful to watch.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask that because in my experience as a player and a coach, it's rare. You can count them. There's so few you can remember seasons where it takes everybody on the roster to win, right? I played for a team in Germany, and there was it was a pretty special year, like German Region 1 in Darmstadt. Um, it was such a deep team, like across the board, or it took everyone to win. I got most outstanding player in the tournament, and now I'm like, that's get the fi what me?
Right.
I said
Right.
me. All these giants, right, are surrounding me. So, but that was just a testament, and not how good I was, but like you said, how complete a team was.
Sure.
And then a few years later, Hunter High School, 2014, 38-1 record. We win the PSALs.
Yeah.
In fact, MSG gave me a coach of the year for that.
Yeah.
That was a team that took everyone on the roster to win.
Yeah.
So how much, as far as commonality is concerned, how much do what I just said compares to the roster you have right now, as far as moving parts and
Yeah.
like taking like everyone on the roster to win these games?
It's huge. I mean, you look at, so we have a guy right now, Nate Thompson he's our leading point scorer for almost the whole year, over 3 kills a set and over 300, won a bunch of huge conference matches for us. He had some hip issues, and so he was out for a little bit, and some guys stepped up. Alex Mackay stepped up with some huge games where he had to win. Parker Dixon stepped up. It's just been amazing if different guys have stepped up. Nico Jaya, we were playing Charleston back-to-back matches, and he stepped up, hit over 300. Like, I would say, of the 19 guys, like upwards of 15 of them, and a couple of guys have been out with some injuries, but upwards of 15 of the active healthy players have stepped in at different points and made critical contributions to conference matches that we had to win to be where we're going to be.
Right.
Which is beautiful because
Put you in the catbird seat.
it's amazing. Well, then guys come to practice and they're fighting to get better. They're not necessarily fighting for a spot. They just want to get 1% better each day so that they can help the team and add value.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff we talk about is like, how can you add value, whether it's getting organized in the locker room, helping the guys on the trip, playing on the court, whatever the case may be. Not everyone leads with kills and blocks, but if everyone feels like they're adding value to the program and to the success, that's when the group feels really special. Like every person is valued and appreciated because they're helping give something to the group.
Cool. Now, and then with that being said, between now, season's over, right? Your regular season's over. Your playoffs there. You secured your bid. You're on your way to the NCAA championships. They're going to be at the Pavilion, right, in Los Angeles.
Yep.
I might come through. I live like 15 miles away from there. I live in
Come on down.
I live in
Come on
Hermosa
down.
Beach, man. It'd be great to see your face,
Dude. If you tell me by tonight, I could put you on our pass list. Come on down.
What day do you play?
We play Sunday 5:00.
Ooh, I'm coming, dude.
Come on down.
I'm doing juniors at Laguna.
Yeah.
But Sunday morning's my playoffs, and dude, I should wrap that up by 1. I'm coming. I'm coming.
Sunday
coming.
5:00. You're on the Princeton pass list. Come on down. We got you.
Yes.
We got you.
Oh, like I said in the beginning. Oh, hot damn! This is my Sam. Keep on partying to the AM.
Come hang out. We're gonna have a lot of Princeton. I mean, we have so many guys from California, so many alums from California. We're gonna have a lot of people there that just love Princeton football and want to cheer and support us and cheer.
Well,
for
the
some
Red Bushes are Manhattan Beach too, right? Aren't they Manhattan Beach
yeah.
products? Yeah.
They're Manhattan Beach. Joe Kelly, El Segundo. I mean, we got.
Pretty big roster of Californians.
I think nine are from California. 2 of those might be NorCal. So I think 7 are from SoCal. Yeah.
My next question is, if there's one or two things you want to see slight improvement in, between, all right, you just finished, right? This Sunday's coming up. If there's 1 or 2 things you'd like to see slight improvement from where your finals left and where this game's about to start, go.
Yeah, I mean, nothing wholesale. Like, things are starting to click for the most part on a lot of different levels. I would say probably the biggest thing is just the ability to maintain focus. That's the hardest skill. It's like, there are certain games where you feel like, man, effort is incredibly high all the time. And then, hey, if they play well, they play well, and it's neck and neck. And then every once in a while, you're like, oh man, it's an overpass, or it's a missed assignment, or we just weren't, it's like, oh yeah, we just kind of checked out for a minute. Like, can you find a way to stay locked in and dialed in for longer stretches of time. And that's honestly what I believe, as you get to the higher levels, most teams have physical dudes who can jump high and hit hard, right? And it's like, okay, what's the team that can stay locked in mentally and follow the system and the plan? So that'd be the biggest thing. Can we stay locked in on reception? I mean, every coach will tell you serve and pass, right?
Yeah.
Locked in on reception. And then also for block and defensive schemes, like sometimes you can see the bandwidth your team has. Sometimes it's like, wow, they look overheated. We're going to keep it simple. And, but sometimes it's like, wow, they look really in the moment, and they come to the bench on timeouts and go, hey, coach, in row 2, they're doing such and such. What do you think about this? I go, yeah, if you guys are feeling like you have, sure, let's try this. Let's do this for block and defense. So those are probably the two things, just general being able to stay in the moment and keep our focus for longer stretches of periods of time. And then if we have the bandwidth, I don't want to say get creative because we don't have that many different block and defense systems, but just have it more come from the players than from the bench. That's exciting when players go, hey, so-and-so is scoring this way. What do you think about going to this defensive package? We go, that's great, as opposed to trying to us pitch it to them,
So I guess basically what you're looking for in your answer, you're basically saying it's not necessarily a particular strategy or something that you're looking for exponential or significant change, and you just want to do the things you do well from bell to bell. Is that what we're saying here?
Exactly right. This is not really the time to try to make wholesale changes. Early in the year, you're trying lineups and different things, and it's like, hey, obviously we caught some kind of magic down at State College last week. Honestly, can we recreate that? That's the tall order. Can we get into that mental space where we're locked in and everyone's doing their job, and it's like every cog in the wheel is just doing their part, right? That's not doing too much, not being outside of ourselves, but just doing our part and staying in the moment. And yeah, if we can do that, I'm excited to be a part of it.
Right. I like that. Last tournament, again, smaller scale, I told my 13s when they were, after the timeout, they were taking the court. And Sam, I changed. I'm not one of those sideline yellers anymore. I sit on my Brooklyn butt, and if there's anything that needs fixing, I'll jump up immediately. But there's nothing that I'm going to say to them. I can't wait till the timeout. But when they get back from the timeout, I actually stand up and I said, does you guys playing your best beat them playing their best? And they all looked at me and they said yes. And they banged out that third set win. My setter got her first 12 assist game because she's always had 9 and she's never hit double digits, and she got 12 in a game 3 to 15. So you know how club is, right? So
sure.
So I'm getting somewhere with this. I'm not talking about me. My question to you, brave question. I'm gonna need a brave answer. Your team playing their best beat everyone in this tournament playing their best? I got some balls asking that question. Look at.
I'll give you the answer. It's possible. And that's an exciting answer. Is it probable? No, it's not probable. And it wasn't probable for us to beat Penn State in the semi, but it was possible. And possible is all we need to give us a glimmer of hope to then lock back into the process, right? So we talked before we left about outcome goals, performance goals, and process goals, right?
Right.
It's okay. Outcome goals, they're sexy, right? You want to be an Olympian. You want to play D1. You want to, like, that fires you up. You should spend some time on that, right?
Yeah.
Put the bracket out, and here's a playing game. Here's this. Yeah, you want to spend a few minutes thinking about being a national champion? Sure, that's exciting, okay? But it's like dessert, right? You get 5% time spent on that. Because if you spend too much time on that, man, you're going to overlook every step in the way to get there, right?
No, it's just something maybe the night before you go to bed, right? And you're reading the book, you put down the book, and you get back to reading your book.
Yeah, and I think, for us, what helped us in that run was like the next point, the next play, so we are locked in on NGU, and we like to use another coach, Coach Jonah Carson, that I coach with the USA program, gave me this great analogy. He said, every team you play, it's like using a power tool, right? You might go to your garage and pull out a buzz saw to cut something. You use it all the time, but you pull out the safety gloves and you put on the goggles because it can cut your finger off. And every single team we play, like NGU, very talented team, very easily could win the match. Every game is 50-50. And if you go into every game with the humility that this could be your last time playing, and you treat that team with the utmost respect and play as hard as you possibly can, and know you have the possibility to win.
Right.
It's a real healthy place to attack. And you take it one step at a time. So we are locked in on them, and that's where we're going to stay for now. And, you know, if we head home, we head home. If we're fortunate to stay, then we'll face that bridge when we come to it.
You know what? I trust your blocking scheme. Like you guys, look, there's some plays where, all right, someone punches it through, or maybe someone's late on their assignment and the other team makes you look incredibly silly. But I played all kinds of places, all right? And I played in places where if there's no way to slow down the ball, you're not going to dig it. There's just some leagues you play in where everyone's just hitting. It's almost like they're playing tennis and they're hitting as hard as they can possibly hit a ball, right? But your blocking scheme is good. You soft zone the 31. You know what I'm saying? This play, that 31 off the back or whatever, and you don't bend. I mean, you bend, but you don't break. You don't change up something that's going to give people other opportunities when they're in system or whatever. So I will say this about your team, and this includes when the other team's in system. You guys are very, very good. And I'm not talking about high jumpers either. I'm talking about understanding your assignment. I'm talking about getting a hand on the ball. I'm talking about two guys joining one hand. I like your blocking scheme, and because we both know we're both old school. It's not even about stuff blocking. Sometimes, you know, for the rookies who don't understand what the hell I'm talking about, let's educate them, right? So you're not trying to stuff everybody. Sometimes you're trying to pop it up so your team can cover instead of the other team covering. And again, I have a small sample size, but I happened to catch you guys with NJIT with the most recent one, and I really think that's the reason why you guys pulled it out. You guys have very, very good patience, right? You dropped one of the sets. You dropped second set, I think, right?
Oh, first set.
Oh, you dropped first set. But you're very, very patient. Crack the code, right? Which is it very much reminded me of Harvard against UCLA in 2018. Harvard, people forget UCLA they hosted, right? Pavilion. Harvard won that first set. 25-23. My wife went to Harvard, so she's the one that told me.
Okay.
She's the one that's like, dude, I'm married into Sam. We all can't be like you. I'm a fucking schmuck from Brooklyn, dude. If you're not a genius by the time you're 40, people, make sure you're married to one. Okay. So she went to Harvard. Her father also an alum Harvard. And the mom went to Duke, undergrad and law school. So.
Nice.
And I'm the schmuck from Marymount, Manhattan,
That's all right.
who played 1 year at Hunter just to play or just to major in volleyball. But anyway, that game reminded me very much of that. Just you know, maybe UCLA starting a little bit flat. Also Harvard figuring out some things, and they won that first set. And I'm like, wow. Oh, and my girlfriend told me that. I'm like, stop playing with me. I'm busy. Get out of here. You're not gonna make me watch that game. Get out of here. And she's like, no, I'm serious. They won that first set. So like you said, it's supposed to be improbable, right? That's the whole improbable win as a term which is why that exists. And I mean, how many times have you lived your life on the improbables? I mean, you were a player yourself, Vassar.
Sure.
You were one of the leaders in digs in that school, and Vassar was look, guys. Vassar is Division III, but I got to tell you, back then EIVA was deep D3. NJIT was Division III back then. So people remind people that Tariq, okay, Hall of Fame guy, they were Division III. Vassar, in fact, in '94 made the EIVA finals. That was the year Penn State won with Ivan Contreras. And Vassar was I think one of two teams that, except Elvis played for Hunter, that made the EIVA finals.
Wow.
So how about that?
I mean, it's funny actually. So Vassar comes to our fall tournament every year. We have the Glenn Nelson Classic. We have about teams come, and a lot of D3s come. NJIT, Sacred Heart, a couple D1s, but a lot of D3s. And the guys all know I played for Vassar, and they love just kind of, you know, ribbing me about it and stuff. But, you know, I got a lot of school pride. I mean, I'm a Princeton coach, but I also root for Vassar. And Vassar does well. And the guys
me too.
They go, Vassar's actually pretty good. I go, what do you mean actually? Why do you gotta say actually? Like, you know, they just love kind of, you know, jabbing each other. But no, I love my experience there. I love playing in the IVA.
Who was your coach? Was it Jon Penn? Was it Jon Penn or the guy before? It was Jon Penn. Two-time AVCA Coach of the Year, man. I mean, what are you gonna do?
That was my coach. Yeah, I loved it. It's funny actually because he went to UCLA and then he transferred to Penn State or went to Penn State. I forget. He played for both UCLA and Penn State.
Right.
So when we were at Penn State, he was like, "I wish you the best, but you know, it's alma mater." You know, he was kind of messing with me and joking with me. I love.
Does his homework though. Let me tell you something about Jon Penn. All right, you played with him, but he stayed with them for a long time.
Oh yeah,
I took a job at City College.
yeah,
Just a 1 year thing, because they didn't have a coach, and I turned these two of these soccer and track and field guys into teams. And NECVA, first round, we
sure.
had to play Vassar, so I actually got City
Yes,
College into the Northeastern tournament.
that's
And
great.
John was like, "When am I gonna? When are you gonna tell me when one of your shows are? Because you knew my
Yeah,
major in college was theater." And I'm
right.
like, "That's so cool. That guy knows that." I only talked to him once in like 10 years, and he's
His
like, "Let me,"
son,
and he says,
his
"Let me
son
know
is
when one of your shows are."
his son is a huge theater guy. So
Oh, that's
he's
why.
and I actually think Coach Penn's an incredibly cultured guy. Like
He really
I
is.
like, he taught us volleyball. This is what I loved about playing for him. Like I learned so much about so many other things
Yep.
than volleyball. And that also kind of inspired me to like, you can coach volleyball, but it's really an avenue to teach other things.
100%. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, look, my degree in theater performance definitely helps me with volleyball. Helps me
Oh,
with the
sure.
refs, helps me with the players. I
Sure.
mean, yeah, look, I like Vassar for three reasons. Jon Penn, Kadeem Nibbs, he's the guy that played for me at Hunter High School that ended up playing two sports there.
Okay.
And Brent Starks.
Oh, Brent Starks.
Remember Brent?
Of course, my
Yeah.
senior year. So he was a senior my senior year. So I went to visit Vassar and I watched Brent Starks, Steve Konieczny, just an incredible
Yeah.
team. Beat Navy back when Navy had just an incredible Division I men's team.
Yeah. Navy was the team to beat, man.
And I went to on a visit. I went to a party, went to a Super Bowl party, and I was like, this place. But I remember watching Brent Starks going, oh man, this guy's out of this world.
Yeah.
But Starks played on the New York City Empire team with Salick, with David May, with all those guys coming up out of New York City. Like those
Yeah.
guys, New York City royalty.
It is. That was a boom period, right? Would you
Oh
wouldn't you
yeah,
call that a boom period?
absolutely.
Seward Park had won. Like
Yep.
Salick won Iron Horse, but didn't win. Eugene from FDR,
Gene Zaboransky. Oh,
Batansis from Clinton High School.
remember Jan Lager?
Yes, yes.
Dude, I remember watching Eugene's set. I was a freshman, he was a senior. I was never been more impressed. I was just so impressed with the way he carried himself and the way he ran his team. I remember sitting before a high school game and he was talking to some friends saying, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And sure enough, he did it bang, bang, bang. I mean, yeah, I have a perspective because I was young then, but gosh, some legends came out of New York City from that era for sure. For sure.
I actually have a 4 minute video. I'm actually looking for while you're talking.
Okay.
Because when we won the trophy, they have all the list of the champions from
Wow.
1988 all the way to the present. So when I look at who won the champion, I'm like, all right, there's Clinton, that was Dave Batantis. Oh, there's Seward Park, that was
Yep.
David May. Oh, there's Hunter High
Yep.
School, Sam
Yep.
Shweisky, right?
25. Yep.
Midwood, that was Martinez, some cat named Martinez, right? And
Yep.
so
Peter Martinez beat us in 96. He was on my Warren six-pack club team. Peter Martinez and a guy named Evans also played on our club team. Yeah, Midwood was dynamite, man. And we wanted to play him all year. We played him in the finals and they beat us. And I remember my coach, Vince Pantaleano, he had a plan going into the finals. He goes, we need to change. You want to put you opposite Ramon Marmolejos to go opposite. I was outside, he was in the middle, but we didn't really have the back row back then. He was like, if we put you opposite each other, one of you would be front row at all times. And I was too young and too stubborn. I was like, no, we don't want to change anything. And sure enough, we lost in the finals. It was close. And I look back with coach's eyes going, man, of course that was the answer. Why couldn't I have listened? Why is youth wasted on the young? Why couldn't I have listened in that moment?
Yeah.
It's tough.
And guys, for everybody listening to me and Sam right now, that was one of the stories I wanted to tell. When he lost in that finals, he unwittingly or not locked himself into the it was at Hunter College at the Sportsplex. So you locked yourself in the varsity locker room, and no one knew the combination except CUNY security and like I guess the varsity players. And everybody's like, is he coming out? And your father was like, he just needs a minute. He's competitive. He's a competitive guy. So I knew the combination. So I went in there and I said, how you doing? Whatever. And I sat like all the way back here. And then when I wanted, and you don't remember this, but I remember I'll try to remember as much as I can. And I said, look, you won last year, right? I said, you'll probably win next year. You'll probably win Iron Horse. And I said, Hunter's got, I said, just think about next year. Hunter always has a way of being at the scene of the crime, win or losing. I said, dude, 20 years from now, I'm going to coach this team and I'll probably win a PSALs. And you started laughing. And I said, I'm not coaching. I said, I ain't coaching shit. So it was great. Next year, I think you won Iron Horse, right?
I did. We didn't, the team didn't do great. I did get the award. Yeah.
But 20 years later,
yeah,
I won the PSALs as a coach. So it was just this weird, it was this cool story I shared with my wife. Oh, I was confused on the dates. But when you told me 96, I'm like, bam, now 96. I remember. Now I remember. But I knew, I only went to Hunter for 1 year, but the combination to the door thing was still the same. And I always watched high school volleyball. I was just intrigued because I worked at a cardiology practice with Cornell, and it's 4 blocks from there. So when volleyball's there, when there's a whole bunch of people playing volleyball, why not? So
it's funny though. So it's funny when you say like, he's competitive. Like I think it means something different for me. Like some people are competitive in the sense that like whether it's like volleyball, darts, pool, they just want to win. They want to win and they want the other person to lose. And they're like the real traditional sense of the word competitive. For me, like it has to do with like family and doing things for each other. Like when we lost that game, I was so crushed because I felt I let the team down, right? I felt like I had that team really depended on me for a lot. And
you were a one-man team.
I really felt like I had a unique responsibility to do it for the team. And that was the feeling of like, man, and I knew what it felt like to win, right? And in 95, I was a role player. I mean, I was good, but you had Dan Morgenroth was a setter. Dave Michaels, we had a big middle. Like I was a component to that team. And I felt like, okay, now my junior year, those guys are gone. I've got to lead the way. I've got to do it. And so, I was hurting, but it was, and that's sort of what I take into coaching. Like when we do well, I get so excited for the group that they're able to have this beautiful experience. And when we don't do well, I feel like I let them down. But I have, for me, it's like a broader feeling of like, like when I play ping pong, I really enjoy ping pong. Like we'll play best out of 3, like, or tennis. I'm not very good at tennis, but I play over quarantine. If I lose, if I'm winning, sometimes I'll like not try to lose, be like, oh, if we go 3, we get to play more. Like I'm not inherently competitive just for the sake of it. For me, it has to do with like the people, we put so much into this, man. I want them to have a great experience. I'm so grateful we get to come out to California. Like you get to win the EIVAs. It's awesome. And it buys you more time with people you love spending time with. It buys you a trip out here and time to be together. So it's funny when you mentioned that. I think back to that 96 moment, and it's the same thing. Like you do it for the people that depend on you.
And I'm glad that you made sure you said it that way because like you said, in the classic sense of the word, oh, I hate losing. That's really not what I meant because I knew that you were all about team, and I knew like every time you got a kill or a block or someone got a kill, you're always in each other's face, either mild or not, right? Mild or hot. Like you hit a ball between the block and you guys would go ping, ping, ping. It was really cool. But because you did that, this is the reason why I remember all this, because you did that. There were a lot of people watching that you allowed to take the journey with you. Yeah. You had family, you had friends, and as everyone starts to win, there's fewer teams there, and I like that because we can, like Ty Trambly, like AVP, when he won Chicago, he took a whole bunch of people with him because he allows himself, in his own way, because he's an extrovert, right, to take you on that journey with him. When Patterson got cemented on Manhattan Beach, he allows people to take that journey with him, and I thought that was very vulnerable of you, but it wasn't something you were thinking about because you were making it about team. So it wasn't your intention. That just happened to be the net result.
Yeah.
So
that's very, very astute. Yeah, it's taken me years to reflect on that, but that's very accurate, 100% accurate.
It's a hell of a run. In fact, let's pull up this video. Here's a list of the champions.
Okay, here we go. Behind the camera is me. I'm Jason DeBeas. I'm the head coach, Hunter College High School.
So this is the night I took the trophy home because you're allowed to hold on to it for a whole year. But I told my athletic director, this baby's sleeping between me and Kelly.
Ronald King, So you know what that means? If it's still needed in 1985 or 89, that means it's probably really heavy.
And it was. Sam,
Yeah.
this is the trophy you won in 95. It's the same damn thing. So
Wow.
check out the list.
Was first
87,
Yeah.
Bronx Science, 88, Hunter.
Hunter DeWitt
Country, yep.
So Clinton, DeWitt Clinton. Humanities is Justin Stack, Danny Moy, Big Josh Jamrog, remember him?
Yeah, of course. He's out in Hawaii now. Yeah.
Seward Park, FDR, that's Eugene and Jan.
That's Eugene, yep.
Midwood, Cardozo had a good team. Iris, JFK.
Yeah.
Iris is always a fire and
Iris.
brimstone coach.
Great coach, yeah.
Pretty good. Cardozo.
Wow. I haven't seen that in forever.
Yeah. And then when you left, Staten Island Tech was just,
They
like,
picked
if you
up.
look at them, they won like 3 out of 4.
Wow.
I forget that woman's name who coached Midwood. She was also
They were, yeah, McKee was good.
Yeah, man, look at him. Lehman, Bryant High School, Jay Check, who played for Cal Northridge. Remember the
Yeah,
the guy?
sure.
7'1" Jack. Yeah.
Yeah, I forget Elvis's nickname for him. I remember.
Yeah. Well, I thought Jack was a nickname. I thought it was Jay Check. His name was Jay Check.
Okay.
But I actually, he's the one that introduced me to Greg Faulkner, Cal
Okay.
Northridge guy. It's
Yeah.
my karaoke buddy. So that's it. I didn't mean to go past the 90s
That's
because
awesome.
none of that's relevant. But
That's awesome.
yeah, but Jack introduced me to Greg, and Greg and I, we sing karaoke twice a week. Greg's the
Nice.
assistant right now in Northridge, right? I think you did. Did you play him once in the beginning of the season?
No, we were supposed to actually got canceled because of COVID, and kind of a weird twist of fate. So that they got back in January, COVID was rampant with Omicron, and so we came out here. Luckily, we got to play UCLA, USC, and Pepperdine. Supposed to play Northridge, got canceled for COVID. We picked up Santa Barbara late, and one of our freshmen lives right there. We actually beat Santa Barbara, which was incredible. Had dinner at his place. It just sort of all worked out.
Yeah.
No, we typically play Northridge. We missed them this year, but yeah, they have a great team. Theo Edwards is the associate head coach there, or assistant coach. Great friend of mine. They're great. And Faulkner, actually, I remember playing against him, man. Incredible player.
Yeah, let me tell you something. I'm not saying he's an idiot savant, but that wrist away quick set, that one is just, you got to respect it. You got to put bodies in front of it, or you're not going to dig that thing, man. You're going to get teabagged or something. It's sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way. I'm trying to keep this clean. This man's going to be on TV Sunday. But yeah, big up to Greg. Big shout out to him. So, who was your best conditioned player? Highlighting one guy or two guys as far as like physical conditioning. Who's your Energizer bunny? Not your Energizer bunny? Who's your conditioned machine?
Yeah, it's got to be Joe Kelly. I mean, we have a lot of physical guys, strong guys. I'd say Alex Mackay moves a lot of weight, but Joe Kelly, fitness Energizer bunny. He's the guy in the front of the sprints. He's the guy that just keeps going and going. We played 3 matches in 4 days is a lot. So we played St. Francis, and then the very next day we played Penn State. We had a day off for a light practice, and then NJT in the finals. And at that last serve and pass, that morning of NJT, all the starters were just getting treatment and stuff. And Joe Kelly's setting. He's moving around. He's setting balls. And I go, hey, man, like, we played tonight. Like, save some in the tank. He goes, I'm good. Running and moving. But fitness is a big part of his mojo. And that rubs off on other guys, right? Other guys get excited about fitness. And so, I think that's a huge part of it, because you can only ask them to lift, right, so many times or days a week, but it's like, how hard are you lifting? How hard are you training? How much lifting are you doing in the off season when we're not around? That's the stuff. And, and Joe Kelly definitely is the leader of that for sure.
No doubt. It's kind of a weird question because I've been living on the West Coast for a while, but we grew up looking at Penn State for years and years because the EIVA, educating our people at home, the EIVA to qualify was, the NCAA. The NCAA only had 4 spots when Sam and I were coming up, or just Sam was coming up. It was the EIVA champ, MIVA champ, Mountain Pacific, and the 4th one was an at-large bid, which 9 out of 10 times went to one of the West Coast teams, right?
10 out of
10 times, yeah. So I guess my question to you, does beating Penn State still a big deal? Is there still, like, as a coach, is there still like a mystique that surrounds them from how they were, in the I'm not going to say distant past. I'll just be nice and say past.
Oh yeah, 100%. They are the gold standard. in our league. No question about it. You know, they're just an institution, right? I mean, first of all, they're the only Big Ten school in the IVA, right? So it's just different. You go there and just the resources and I mean, I have all the respect in the world for them. And it's like, they're our Super Bowl, right? Every time we play them, it's like, we want to bring our best because they are the best.
Right.
And yeah, you know, Princeton went to the Final Four. They beat Penn State in 98. And then Penn State won for, I think, 16 or 17 straight years.
Yeah.
You know?
Early hotel reservations. It was just crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and this year too, they were 16-0. Didn't lose a conference game. They were on a 19-match win streak. Like, they're just an institution.
Wait a second. Hold on. They were where were they ranked in the national rankings? Were they 2?
2. 2. Yeah, they were 2. But I'll tell you that's the cool thing about like rally score. I remember, you know, I played.
Why wouldn't they get in that large bid then? If they're number 2,
they would have. UCLA lost in the semis, and then Long Beach lost in the finals.
Yeah.
Either of those things not happen, they would have been in for sure.
Yeah, but you can't let them in and not let in right. Long Beach State, UCLA. Well, UCLA is the host, so
they were 1, 2, and 3. UCLA, Long Beach, and Penn State were 1, 2, and 3 in different media polls all year.
Got you right.
So you know, the night we upset Penn State, UCLA got upset, and then Long Beach gets upset, and the committee's like scratching their head, going, "Oh my God, what are we going to do?" You know. But no, Penn State's the gold standard, and yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible the Mystique's never going to go away.
Right.
Incredible program, coached incredibly well. With just a classy. Mark Pavlik is by far the classiest person in all of coaching volleyball that I've ever met, and I really aspire to do a lot of things like him. And so yeah, getting a chance to compete with them. But I say that's the cool thing about rally score. I remember, you know, when we switched from side out to rally. And then it went to 30 and then down to 25. I remember feeling like I was at Princeton. I go, oh, it just got more possible for us to compete with every team in the country.
And run away.
Penn State's, UCLA's, but it also made every other team, maybe the NYUs and the Vassars, to compete with us. Because a rally point game at 25, man, every team in the country, D1, 2, and 3, has 1 or 2 dudes that can crack it from the service line.
Yep.
And someone gets hot and it gets tight, like anybody can win.
Mm-hmm.
It makes for like high stress and high excitement for fans, but it also puts things, even for the juggernauts, even for the Penn States that should win, it's still a game and you got to play. And that's exciting. But no, the Mystique will never go away. They are the gold standard and the juggernaut of our conference for sure.
Well, I've come to a couple of games, but I've only come to the games because the people they were playing against involved people I knew, like Vassar. That was the one year I was playing at Hunter, and like, our EIVA, there was a B flight, and I believe they won. They beat Juniata. We lost to NYU. We lost to freaking Boris and John Eisenberg.
Yeah.
John Eisenberg.
Another
John Eisenberg is like a digging machine back then. Yeah. But I watched Vassar against them. I watched Queens College. I think it was Colin Henry's senior year. Sure. But Penn State, that first game was 15-0. So I was like, okay, this ain't gonna do well. And then NJIT was up 2-0 on it was the EIVA semis or finals, and NJIT was up 2-0, and Penn State came back and won the next.
Let me guess, was that Yvonne Contreras?
Yeah, probably. Well, yeah, Yvonne was, yeah.
Yeah, there was one year NJIT was up 2, and Yvonne, they came crawling back.
Yep.
Yvonne had like 50-something kill.
That was him, yeah.
Unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
I had him. I went to Penn State camp. He was my coach, and I just had so much respect for what he could do.
He pioneered the back row quick.
Unbelievable.
Right? What they called it the Cuba or whatever, wherever the hell he was from.
He played middle. He played opposite. He played everything.
But I've never seen a back row quick until him in 1994 when they beat UCLA in 5. And then the next year, he ran it again, but UCLA was ready. Nygaard and those guys, and UCLA won that rematch 3-0. But
were you at that game in '95 at Springfield?
No, I wish I was.
I was a sophomore. My club coach.
Oh God, I wish I was.
Down. It was so cool. That's when I got. So I remember I was so enamored with Hawaii. Talk about Jason Olive, Yuval Katz, Jason Ring.
Yeah, lefty, right?
Yvonne Leomi, lefty Yuval Katz. I mean, that was a beautiful era of men's volleyball. Like you said, Nygaard over at UCLA, Spra. I mean, it was just incredible volleyball.
Yeah. What was the first college match you ever watched?
That might have been it. In person, that might have been it.
Oh, in person. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, it was my sophomore year. My club coach said, Greg Leong said, hey, let's go down and watch this game. I said, okay, I know what I was doing. Ball State had Greg Romano and I mean, all these future Olympians and
Timmy, yeah.
and Kevin Wong playing for UCLA, Stein Metzger.
Yeah.
I mean, like legend. Talk about an epic time of volleyball. Like,
Yeah,
just
man.
incredible.
It was fun watching Stein in the Olympics too, and Jeff
Oh.
Alzina. I'm decent friends with him. I believe he was his coach, and he
Yeah,
also
yeah.
helped build that program at Greece, which is supposed to be like a 4-year plan, but they did a good rush job. My first college game I've ever seen. This is Long Beach State against USC. Now USC's Brian Ivy, right? It has Nick Becker, Greenbaum, they had Tom Selleck's kid, but Long Beach State had this goofy foot, Brent Hilliard.
Oh yeah, sure.
So good. Jason Stinpig was a setter or something like that. But that was the first. It was on CBS. It was on on a big channel, and I'm like, whoa, this is awesome.
Oh, Hilliard's a legend. Legend.
Yeah, and he was in the Olympics in '92. Because I was in Barcelona. I was in Barcelona to watch USA play Japan. So, but when I went back to Germany to my assignment, my military assignment, it was my birthday, and Ivy just came back from this weird knee injury, and they benched everyone. They benched Timmons. They put Hilliard in for him. They put Greenbaum in for Stork.
Wow.
They put Becker in for Stavertlik. And they beat Italy 3-1, who came in as the 1 seed. It was just such a USA pride moment, man. It was great.
Yeah.
So, all right, good best. I had my story to tell. Hunter High School,
There you go.
international ball. No. Forget that. From Central Florida to Princeton, what was your path? You were there as an assistant in Central Florida. I believe you guys won 15 games.
So I did my master's at Miami, Ohio. Got a grad degree there. I was grad assistant there. Got a master's in sports psychology. Went off to UNLV. Did 2 years there as a second assistant. Then I went to Central Florida, 2 years as a first assistant. And then I got this opportunity, Princeton. I'm looking at it. I go, wait, assistant women's coach and head men's coach, dual job. Back close to the East Coast. I just turned 30, and I wanted to travel in my 20s. 30, I was like, I want to be back in the Northeast. I want to be close to my parents, my family, my sister, my cousins. Ivy League, I felt a connection there. And I just applied for the role, and it felt like a Goldilocks it. There were definitely applicants that had more men's experience, but maybe not as much women's experience. Some applicants had more women's experience, not enough men's experience. I just kind of fell right into it. And I remember on the interview just feeling like, yeah, I'm the right guy for this job. And it was just a fit. It was beautiful. I remember went on the interview, and I stayed with my parents that night in the city, and I was just like, I can't wait to come home. And so I did that. It was 7 years. I coached both assistant women's, head men's. And then about 6 years ago, they hired a full-time women's assistant and got me pushed over just to coach head men's full-time, which with the addition of me getting a full-time men's assistant, that's when we really started to pick up some recruiting classes and really take it to the next level. We were slowly sort of inching away and making some rounds and beating some teams, but full-time assistant, me just focused on the men. I love women's volleyball. I love coaching them, but it was a lot on my plate. And so being able to focus on the men was huge. And and that sort of never looked back, and I love it here.
I'm glad you're there too. And the cool thing is a lot of those guys that you played against in the Carolinas Conference and the East Coast, of course, I'm just gonna admit I'm really not into the NCAA men's game as a participant, as a coach, or as a team manager or anything anymore, because the beach opportunities were endless, and Jason hoodwinked me into doing this indoor thing, but Jason had a deeper mission statement of reaching out to players of color or people like communities that are not exposed to the sport, and in fact our whole coaching staff were players of color. I'm the whitest black guy. My mom's black, so I'm the whitest black guy on the team, and we were trying to recruit the blackest white guy, Greg Faulkner, but he's staying put. He's staying where he was supposed to go. So, Angel Dace, did you ever had a chance to coach against him? He was in the Carolina Conference. He's this Cuban guy. And he was a ridiculous rangy outsider.
What year is that the guy? What year did he play? Who did he play for?
That's the question I'm trying to remember. It might have been.
So we went down to the Carolinas in 2014, and we played a bunch of teams.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure it's the guy you're talking about. We were playing this team, and we're in the scouting report, and I tell the guys like, "Hey, look, this team is good, and this guy's legit." And the guys are like, "Yeah, whatever, Okay, you'll see."
Yeah.
His first, second play of the game, he hits a bic, crushes the setter in the face. Like,
No.
and our bench erupted because we had a very like really fun team that back then, a lot of trash talking with our own team. Our bench started ragging on our guys so hard, you know. But if that's the guy I'm thinking of, that guy was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Incredible athlete.
He was on the podcast.
Like 5 kills a set. He had like 5 kills a set, hitting like 300, 350 or something. It was unbelievable.
He's an amazing human being too. He came on the podcast, and I was just trying to.
Nice.
I mean, there's so many people that came on the podcast that are like indoor standouts that are decided to go to the beach, and of course, all of them are going to go to the Pottstown Rumble, right? Because grass court is like the ultimate neutral ground, right? My boy, Mark Fornicari took second. He's lefty, and Andre Beloff, who lives in New York. His wife's the head coach at City College. He won the whole thing this year.
Oh, nice.
So his wife played for the Serbian national team. So I know you got to go in a bit, and I think we're both getting hungry. But you are in an institution where, okay, it's student athletes, but the operative word in some universities, athletes, where yours might be more student before student athletes. So tell me what it means to you when you see some of your guys graduate and they end up getting overseas contracts and you see them enjoy some success on the level outside of what the Ivy League requires.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, because we recruit, like you said, we're students first in the student athlete sense. I got guys that are electrical, mechanical, and aerospace engineers, civil engineers, astrophysics, everything, you name it. Guys go off work at SpaceX, everything. But at the same time, I got, guys playing on the youth and junior national team, playing with the national team. I coached the national team 2 years ago on a trip to Canada. Cody Kessel, George Human, these are guys of mine that played. Cody Kessel's in his 6th or 7th year, playing professionally in Germany right now on an incredible team.
He's having a good time, I'm sure. They got some pretty good. Germany's got some pretty good leagues, dude.
He's playing with Patch and a bunch of guys. So it's really gratifying that the recruiting pitch is legitimate. Come to Princeton, get an incredible academic career and degree. Go play volleyball for as long as you want, so your body can handle it, and you got your career to fall back on. Then you can go do investment banking or go into medicine or business or whatever. So I love it. And we have a handful, 2-3 guys a year that go play pro or play on the national team. We have 2 of our guys been invited out to play with the national team this summer, which is fantastic. So no, I love it. And it's true to the mission statement. I got guys here that I'll be proctoring exams for them this week. And that's the focal point. You got an exam, you're going to make sure you take it because that's why you're here. So
of course. Well, nobody knows that can appreciate that more than you, but sorry, continue.
No, I was just saying it is the true sort of meaning of student athlete. And I love being behind that mission statement.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you go to a high school or a school like Hunter High School, not to be confused with Hunter College, people, right? Don't know if you left since you graduated. I'm not sure if you knew. I think for 14 of the next 15 years, they led the nation in cumulative SAT scores and Ivy League application acceptance. So
since I left, they were able to raise the average. Since I left, yeah.
But I got to tell you, when I coached, I had freshmen whose intelligence was on par with mine. a full grown ass man with 2, with an education, a street education and a college degree. So, but I just wanted to let your players know, before Vassar, which is also a highly academically competitive school, not just your sister school. This man went to let them know this man went to a high school where the kids were smarter than the college grads, man. It is ridiculous. It is.
I don't know.
ridiculous.
I throw in some polysyllabic words and some high, geographic words, and they go, what? You should know what that word means. You should know what erudite means. Come on, man, get with me.
Yeah, definitely. So Sam, listen, good luck this Sunday.
Thank you.
My podcast, I don't know if you heard it. We can go long form. We can go all night. But 1, I really got everything I needed from you. And 2, we're hungry. It's late here.
We're taking the team to dinner in about 10 minutes. It's perfect. Perfect.
Cool. Yep. Hey, make sure I'm on your guest list, man. I'll dress up for it.
I got you. Dibelius.
Yep. Dibelius. So, any anything, any particular site or plug? If anyone wants to know more about Princeton athletics or Sam Shweisky and what you've been up to with camps and this, is there a particular site or an IG handle or stuff
yeah,
like that?
Princeton Volley at Princeton Volley is our Instagram and our Twitter. We share with our women's program, which I love. I love that they're our family through and through. And so it's really cool. We have content for everything, but yeah, we have camps and stuff, but yeah, I mean, my plug would be for guys like you, guys like Off the Block, anyone that's doing stuff for volleyball and promoting volleyball. I just want to say thank you. We're really appreciative. Men's volleyball is, it's a niche sport, and people take the time to do podcasts or promote. It's really special, and it really touches my heart. So thank you for everything you're doing for the sport.
For everybody else that would say that on the West Coast, because I'm still beefing with these guys, I would say you're welcome. But for you, I will say the pleasure is all mine. The pleasure is all mine. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Shweisky might love you, but I don't love any of you. In fact, I can't stand any of you. So we're out of here, all right? So for all of you at home, for all of you on your iPad or iPhone or Droids, if that still exists, for all of you on your desktop, that still exists. Old school, baby. For my man, Sam Shweisky of Princeton University, we're wishing him good luck in the NCAAs. I'm Jason DeBeas. Stay with me. I'm going to hit my music, and we're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.